So I'm trying out a new style of editing. It's editing the entire video and realizing you didn't make an intro to it. So here's that. Starting off this new car, I decided to start on the things that would be harder to reach if there's a roll cage already in there, which is a lot of the block off plates and hard to reach areas inside the car where later it's going to be a little difficult to get to. So I went ahead and put this together over the last month. It was on and off with what time I had and what motivation I had. So yeah, I hope you guys like it. I'm still learning and editing, so let me know what you guys think. Don't be too hard on me. But yeah, I hope you like it. Stay tuned for more. There's going to be plenty more videos coming out on this car, so stay tuned. I came up with this idea of screwing the sheet metal down to use a hole saw instead of having to clamp it down awkwardly. This actually worked out pretty good, clamping it into just some random piece of wood that I had laying around. And I was using vice grips on the side to hold it down, but here I experimented just using it, holding it by hand to show if it would oblong the hole, which it did. So I just kept going along this process, clamping it, unclamping it. I'd use a magnet to pull out the blanks, and then afterwards I'd go along with a finger file and clean up all those circles. I came up with this idea after making a couple templates that didn't fit so good. I figured I'd use some tape and then mark it in with a marker just to get kind of the exact shape, and then transfer it over to the tape. Once it's indented pretty good, I went ahead and pulled the tape off and transferred it over to some cardboard. And I found beer boxes work pretty good. The cardboard's not too thick, it's not too thin, and it doesn't fold over on itself. So that's what I ended up using for all the templates for the block off plates. I went ahead and grabbed some magnets to hold down the templates onto the sheet metal that I cut down to size so it's easier to manage, and went ahead and traced out the templates. And recently I decided to pick up some new shears. They worked out really good in this project using thinner ones. I got these from Lowe's, and they come in all different cutting directions. They're all labeled on there. I got this set of 3 for like 20 bucks, which worked out great because all the sheet metal is super thin, so it doesn't really work out. It doesn't really work out too well on a bandsaw or a table saw, really. But these shears make quick work of it. You just got to come back and clean it up. This was my first time using these shears on a bigger project like this. It's been quite a few years since I've used them, but after a couple tries I got the hang of it. They leave a couple of ridges on the edges, so you got to be careful not to cut yourself with them real good. I went ahead and flattened them out with that mallet, and then cleaned it all up with the die grinder and the finger file, which this thing is great if you don't have one. They're reversible, forward and reverse. It has a speed option, and the belt comes off with a quick release. This thing is one of those tools that if it broke today, I wouldn't hesitate to buy another one. Just taking my time here to get the radius right, because I don't want to overcut it and make it ununiformed. Not that it would be super visible. Just making sure the overall fit and finish of it's going to be good. Using the DA to get a good finish on there before I kind of draw out the design on there, because we're going to be bead rolling this. So I just kind of measured out I just went ahead and measured out the same distances from corner to corner to try to square it off a little bit, and then drew it out real quick. Being my first bead rolling project, this went by pretty smoothly. I did screw up a couple pieces, but overall it was very satisfying. This tool I picked up off of Alibaba or something. I think it was eBay or Amazon, whichever three. One trick I found online, just out of the YouTube videos, is basically capping these bead rolls. They make tools and you can make them out of pipe or tubing, but I found that people suggested using an open end wrench to close off these beads and makes it a little more finished looking. Not sure if you can tell here, but in person you can tell if it doesn't get closed off properly. So I was trying to make these all facing inboard, or recessed, I should say. And one of them I actually duplicated, so I had to remake one of these pieces. I was pretty irritated about, so I guess that one's going bye-bye for now. So now that I got all these pieces cut out and deburred, I went ahead and cleaned all of them off with acetone, prepping them for paint.
Here's what we're going to use for painting all the back sides of all the panels that are going to get exposed or we're not going to be able to reach in the future. It's just a weld-through primer. You can get it wherever on Amazon or your welding store. I got it at a welding store locally. It's pretty much like Quick Steel, that spray paint that everybody seems to spray their chassis, except it's like half the price, and it really is just a primer. You're not supposed to leave it out like an actual paint. So we got these all laid out. We're gonna paint these up, open the door so we don't die, and then while that kind of cures, we're gonna tackle all the sanding. Okay, it's definitely been a little more than a couple days. I kind of ran into some motivation issues lately, and the weather's been changing, and you know how life happens, but I have been working on the car diligently. Realized that there is so much that I'm trying to do here that I can't film all of it, being a one-man band, but I decided that I would do pretty much half of the car on my own and figure out maybe the quirks and kinks and how I should be doing it, should not be doing it. And then kind of when I get a little more experience and get the gist of things in the process, I'd show the other part, or the other half, where I kind of show you how I'm doing it. So here is what I've been up to. I've been trying to seal off the whole inside of the car by grinding down all these open holes for smoke to pass through. And I obviously made those templates and those sheet metal pieces that I filmed, and ended up being a lot of work. There's a lot of them. And so here's one side. It's, I think, 90 some odd percent done. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do down there, if I want to make another little like bead rolled piece, but maybe just cover the whole thing, because there's, I don't know, a lot of unnecessary holes, but I don't know which route would be better. If I want to make a plate like this, which I think these turn out pretty sweet. That's my first little bead rolling project. And so I still got to make this one. I'm probably going to leave these out. Still trying to figure that one out, because if I block this off and then keep that out open, then that's kind of defeats the purpose. But anyways, kind of hard to figure out where to stop, because there's so much you can do and so deep you can get. But yeah, so I'm gonna try and film a couple clips here and there, maybe voiceover on what I'm doing here with all these holes, and it takes a lot of freaking time. So just been trying to slowly plug away. Also all of these, which I filled these up. Oh. I filled these all up here. I got those couple small ones, and I'm trying to be thoughtful for the future on what to weld and what not to weld. Like this one I'm gonna leave open for harness eyelet to go in there, but then everything else I'm welding down, or welding up and then grinding down. So anyways, that's where we're at so far. I'm gonna plug you guys in and yeah, just start welding this passenger side, because the driver side's been done for, or mostly done for a little bit, but I'm trying to get the motivation to get the other side of the car figured out. Okay, next we're gonna go after all these funny looking clip holes. They're all used to fasten the interior parts. Pretty much, I mean, all of this is used to fasten interior panels, but these are kind of different because you can't really fill it in with weld efficiently, just weld on its own, so you got to make something to cover it. So what I've been doing is taking one of these, I don't even know what this is called, but this is it. Anyways, I'll kind of like line it up like this, and I'll get the right depth for it. Or I guess we'll do these bigger ones. I basically line this up and get the right depth. And since this is offset, I can drag it on here and I'll scribe it. And I've already been doing this for all the sills here. They had clips in for the rocker plastics, and then of course on all the other sides, but this is a better way to do it than how I was doing it on the other side. I was basically cutting this and using it as a filler rod, which honestly did not work very well. It worked, but it was dirty work and didn't come out with the greatest results. But this side is going to be better. So you just use the 10 snips and work your way down. And this doesn't have to be super, you know, it's not rocket science. You just get that, peel it off. It's going to come out like this. And then just flattening it out in the vise to make it easier to do the next step, which is going to be marking it out. So see how that fits pretty dang good in there. But see, I'll just keep repeating this process. And I'll have to stop at some point so I'm not getting mismatched with different lengths, but this seems to be a pretty quick and easy way to do it. Like what I was doing before is taking this and then welding it in by hand and then cut it off and then weld it. And it's a lot faster, but the areas I filled in ended up being kind of wavy, so we're gonna try it this way. All right, here's a rudimentary clip. We can see how some of these fit pretty dang good. I don't know if the camera picks it up. We're on a GoPro right now, so. Anyway, some of them are real good and tight, and then some of them are a bit looser. You know what I mean? So some will be easier to fill than others, but I got all of them patched up. It goes all the way down, up, and so I'm gonna fill these up all the way with weld and then grind them down. And today, I think today, this will all be done. And then these little sections, I think I am gonna make a little beauty cover, but we'll get to that another time. So here it is. All the holes are plugged up on the inside for the most part. There's a couple onesie twosies that I'm gonna do later when the cage is in. That way I can weld all the way around the cage once it's been installed. But this was no easy task. It took quite a bit of time, and had to take a lot of breaks to regain motivation and, you know, maintain a certain level of quality. I know there's a couple areas that I burnt through, and it probably doesn't look great on the other side, but for the most part, I did my best. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Next time, we're going to be doing more welding and more grinding, but it's going to be something a little different. If you like watching this video, consider hitting like. And if you have something that I could improve on, or have an idea of what I could do with this car here in the future, then drop a comment below. For now, we'll see you next time.